Hi, my name is Leo, and if you're new here, I have lost over 100 kilos, well over 200 pounds all on my own, and I have this account and this channel to share a lot about my story and what works, what doesn't work, and I guess it applies to much more than also just fitness in the end. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about mindset and about how changing your mindset can make a huge difference. If we start at the end of just fitness and diet and exercise and all of that field, I think that switching from feeling like you have no control over things and myself, I've been a lot of time kind of just blaming others for the situation I was in, or blaming just situations that I was in, and not really taking responsibility for my actions. And I don't mean responsibility as a negative word. I mean it as a positive word, because I think um, responsibility is basically control. Is basically you focusing on what you can, uh, what you can change, what you can do different, what you can affect in your life. So when you switch your mindset from blaming situations, from blaming other people, and you get into the mindset of, okay, I'm gonna focus on what I can do, and I'm gonna give it my best. I'm gonna go for what I want. Even if there are maybe hurdles, there are a lot of things that could stop you along the way, both people and situations and whatever. If you look at people who are successful, and I constantly try to look at people who are more successful than me, not to compare myself, but to see what they do, to learn, right? So if you look at someone who's more successful than you in any field of life, you'll probably see that they're usually people who don't make a lot of excuses and who kind of just focus on doing what they can do. And this applies to fitness, but it applies also to everything else, basically. Um, it can apply to your work life, right? Sometimes you're in a situation at work that you don't like and you blame others, or you blame um, whatever is happening, right? And you think like, okay, I cannot do anything about that. I catch myself all the time, um, falling into that um, mentality of being an effect of one's surroundings, basically of feeling like a victim of the situations you're in, right? And even though there might be some truth to that you are in a situation where there are things that make your life very hard, and it still doesn't help you to feel that way. And that's why switching mindset to being in control and to focus on what you can do is always going to be what gives you the best results from the situation that you're in. And this applies also to everything else, right? I've caught myself many times, uh, yeah, just feeling sorry for myself for many situations. Um, I've been quite open about the fact that like something I'm striving for is uh, to build a family and to create that kind of environment where there is a safe family environment. That's something I really like to do. And sometimes it's easy to get into feeling like the situation you're in, if you haven't achieved that yet, it's that it's hopeless maybe, or that it's somehow just other people's fault, and that you deserve something different, and you might deserve something better, definitely. It's not wrong to feel like you deserve something, but it's also, then you should just focus on what you can do to get there and forget everything else. So I guess my point with this video is just, whenever you can avoid blaming situations, blaming people for where you're at, and just focusing on what you can control, that's going to be your best bet at success at anything. I know for a fact that this has worked for me in my fitness journey, and it is still the way that I act now, because I know this is going to be a lifelong struggle for me, being in shape and staying healthy. But I also know I need to apply this to all my other areas of life when it comes to work, finances, relationships. I need to make sure I focus on what I can affect and not so much on what other people do or what situations I'm in to start with. So that's my best advice about how to see all of this. And I definitely look up to people who are successful both in their but both in their work life and in their in building a family and so on. And if you see people who are successful at building a family environment, are usually people who are very hard workers, right? They they work hard, they take care of the family, and I can guarantee that most people who succeed at the things that I want to do are people who, yeah, just have a positive mindset and a mindset of not being, not seeing themselves as a victim, or not pitying themselves for any hard situations, but just looking forward and working hard and um, eventually improving whatever the starting point was. So that was all I wanted to share for today. Those were my thoughts about this. So thank you for watching. See you next time.